Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the imho.love show. I'm Lou Angelwolf here with Michael Murburg. We're here every Wednesday night at 7:30 on the Tan Talk Radio Network. That's local here in the Tampa Bay area, 1340, 1350, 1400 on the AM side. You got 104.3 and 106.1 on the FM. We're simulcast on a YouTube Live. We are Facebook Live right now.
And 102.3 FM.
Oh, wait a minute. There was a problem. Wait a minute. I almost was live on Facebook. Oh, it clicked out. Darn it. Okay. I'll try it again. Anyway, Michael, say hello to everybody. I got to get us back online here.
Hello to everybody. I'm losing my voice. I've got the face for radio and the voice for television today.
So, okay, live 2, 4. Okay, there we go. We're back live. Thank you. Sorry for any interruptions. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. We're going to leave the phone lines open tonight, 727-441-3000. That's 727-441-3000. And if you need a toll-free number, we are welcome to use it, 866-826-1340. And, of course, tantalk.com. We're also, the show is on imho.love. That's the mothership. And it is also downloaded every week to BitChute. That's BITCHUTE, BitChute, where it'll be permanently logged forever and a day, never to be forgotten, found thousands of years from now, and marveled at once again. Well, welcome to the show, folks. I sound good. Monday. One of my best friends on this planet, a guy named Dave DeBrill, who we affectionately called the Murburg, passed away on me, crossed over. He had some heart issues and did not take the doctor's advice and thought that it was a good idea to not take your medicine, not quit smoking, not maintain a decent diet, not walk down the street every once in a while. And the best of my knowledge, he vapor locked sometime during Monday. We're in the middle of all that kind of stuff. We spoke with the coroner and stuff like that today. So, so Dave DeBrill, the Murg, great guy, had a fantastic laugh. He was a wonderful friend. Do anything in the world for you. And I was the same with him. He could say, Louie, I'm broke down in Atlanta. It's 2:00 in the morning and it's pouring rain. I said, I'll be there in
10 hours.
7.2 hours, brother. So anyway, but he has crossed over and say a little prayer for, he actually didn't have any family, but he did have a bunch of friends. And he was went to Dunedin High, graduated class of 78 with so many of the people that I still hang around with. And, there's one of them right there, Mark Cottingham, one of my buddies from high school, and Terry Gerondale. And, hey, thanks for listening. And, hey, Tim Wilkins, professional comedian, real funny dude, bodybuilder dude, good guy. And hi, Donna Rouge. Good to see you all. Thank you for listening to the imho.love show. It's a show about CE5 or what you call HICE, which is the human-initiated contact experiences. This is with our extraterrestrial family out there. We do it through prayer and meditation, and we open up our hearts and show them our soft bellies, and we ask them to do the same. And we have, bless you, son.
Thank you.
We have communications with them often, visually, and a lot of times you can feel it when it's really them. So there's that part of it, and we cover a little humor, and we cover lesser known facts, maybe history you haven't heard, the other side of the news. When you turn the page and you go, well, I don't want to read it. I don't want to turn another couple pages and find this article again. That's where we look, is when you go further back into the article and then find out that the back end unexplained the front end and vice versa. So anyway.
It's funny how when you look at a donkey's butt, it doesn't look anything like its head.
It does. Yeah, that's true.
You got to get the whole picture.
I see it. I see it. I imagine it happening right now. Well, anyway, the last several weeks we've been studying the Federal Reserve and the way it completely encompasses our life. And it is the control of our money system and has been for many, many years. In fact, in 1815, Nathan Meyer, who was part of the Rothschild banking system, said, "I care not what puppet is placed upon the throne of England to rule the empire on which the sun never sets. The man who controls Britain's money supply controls the British Empire, and I can control the British money supply." And I control the British, not could control, I control the British money supply. So this is in 1815. The fix has been in so long, folks. It's absolutely dizzying, and it's happening right now. Just this machine just doesn't stop. And the reason Michael and I started covering this was there's a lot of people that feel really confused and left out, and they don't know why they're working harder and longer and living less. There's actually less time for life because you're too busy chasing money. And now, what was people used to be able to make it on a one-person income, and now they had to go to somebody had to pick up a part-time job. Now you're at 1.5. Now you need both people working full-time. Now you've got your common set right now is one person working 2 jobs and the other person working 1 full-time job. That's the most common scenario for people trying to keep it together because you just the money ain't where it was, so.
Yeah, we all get kind of suckered into a new sociology as well, where everybody needs to work. You need new cars. You need 2 new cars. You need more of everything.
Yeah, well, the mind control and all the mental manipulations through advertising, television, radio, even us, is bending every thought that by the time it reaches your ear hole, it's been through 5 different filters, 3 different bends, 2 truth changes, and bad grammar. So that's kind of the way it gets to you these days. And but consequently, Corbett did an interesting thing, and this is something that I noticed. This is when there's a point in your life, if you pay attention, when you hear a story, you go, that's baloney. That's not true. That I don't believe that for a minute. But yet here you're listening to what seems to be a legitimate news report, and they're telling you the opposite of what you know not to be true. Okay. It's called gaslighting. There was actually a movie made about it in the early 50s, an English film about a man who drove his wife insane by continually telling her wrong facts and wrong ideas, making her doubt herself and everything that she thought that she knew. Well, that's what the media does to us every day, every moment. It tries to undo what you thought was real and makes you doubt and keeps you off balance. Because if you're off balance, you're easier to tip over. And if you're easier to tip over, you're easier to involve yourself in unusual activities or different activities. Or if you're off, you're going to be looking for some sort of salve or some sort of treatment for your newfound confusion. And that's when you'll find all the alcohol companies, all the medication companies. And I'm telling you, people are so bombarded every day with odd and strange information that it knocks you off balance. It takes away from your true human experience, and it leaves you in your head with very little time in your heart. And that's why we started talking about this.
Yeah, we're here to light the gas for you.
Or turn it off.
I turn it off.
Yeah. So stick to what you know. I mean, don't be persuaded by these ads. Yeah, hey, new pickup trucks are great, but new pickup trucks can easily submerge you into debt, cause more stress trying to pay that truck note than you would ever imagine. Yeah, everybody's getting a new house, but maybe you don't need a new house. You just got the wants. And you gotta check yourself with your materialism and your egoism. If you have enough to get by, man, I tell you what, years ago, I really stopped looking for happiness and I started to seek content. And I found it several times along the way. I found my content and it was good enough for me. And I'm not saying I don't enjoy nice things in the world. I certainly do. But the one thing that I got some toys here and there, but they're just little guy toys and they're not that expensive and they certainly don't cripple my lifestyle. I like trucks. I like old trucks. But anyway, when you find yourself happy and content, that's the magic combination. When you find yourself pleased enough just being content, that's a wonderful combination. Happiness is great, but it's also very fleeting. Happiness doesn't last a long time, I've noticed. Michael?
Well, happiness, no, you're better off with contentment. But what a lot of people don't realize is that materialism is the trap, and debt is the slavery that keeps you trapped. And there's an old saying in the Tao that says, "A wise man knows that he already has enough." So no matter what you have, if you realize that you have enough, then you got it.
Yes, a wise man knows that he already has enough. That's good.
It is.
Yeah, and and then the Bible says something about all these other things shall be added unto you.
Well, it's like this, when the devil takes Jesus up onto the mountain and he goes, "Look, I can give you all this stuff out here,"
Mm-hmm.
and he says, "Like, what for?" What, I already have myself. I have my freedom. I don't owe anybody any money. I'm not tied to materialism. I'm debt free.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I need more stuff?
Right.
Because
Exactly.
you attach yourself to more stuff. You're essentially chaining yourself to a tombstone.
That's really true. I mean, I my friend Dave, who just passed, who we were talking about, absolute workaholic, man. Workaholic, 50, 60 hours a week, knocking it out left and right for many years on end. Cost him, one marriage, I know, and the second marriage was multifaceted with issues. But I know his first wife said, I need more to hold than a phone, because he'd work long. And he was excellent. He was an ad guy. In fact, you've probably even seen his work. Almost everybody that's listening has probably seen his work. Dave did art for like big magazines like Architectural Digest, Southern Living. Like you'd look at those 4-page gatefold beautiful ads in the middle of Architectural Digest that say, we're planning a new golf and tennis community for Asheville, North Carolina, Donkey Shine or whatever they were going to call it, I don't know what they call them. They all got that kind of name,
Donkey Shine.
Donkey Shine.
They named these places about things, animals, and things that no longer exist there, like Fox Oaks. None. Mountain View Meadows,
Unicorn Cloud.
Exactly. It's like whatever it's called, there ain't none there no more. It's like Seven Oaks. There ain't one. And I counted them.
They're all palms. Yeah. But anyway, but Dave he did that caliber of work, that Architectural Digest centerfold. I mean, he just did tremendous work, but a lifetime of work and very little time of Pleasure. In fact, you met Dave. You, me, my brother, and Dave all went down to the drag race.
That was Dave.
That's when we saw the jet truck. Yeah, saw the jet truck.
Well, at least he lived long enough to see the jet truck.
Well, yeah, there was that.
You know.
And now
it's not often that you can be 100 yards away from a machine that has tires and get your eyebrows singed. It's like, thanks, Lou.
Hey, I was looking for a good time, brother.
Yeah, I was like, I used to like my eyebrows.
When was the last time you saw anything that had 35,000 horsepower?
Really, really, don't get behind that. Don't get behind that machine, man.
Hey, brother, you got a light.
That was crazy.
Yeah, it was. It is. It's if you've never seen the jet truck, folks. You know, even if you love drag racing, don't even know anything about drag racing. If you see that the jet truck is going to be somewhere, pay the toll, go in and take a look at it. You'll never be the same.
Pay your $40. It's worth it.
It's so worth it. But again, and I'm not going to go into details on this, but it does tie into what we got going on. We've been talking about money and the reserves and everything. Folks, as your friend, even if I don't know you, if you don't have a will, make a will. They're $99 online. You can fill it up on LegalZoom. I
recommend against that. People screw it up all the time. And the reason they do is the wills can be self-proving if they're properly executed. But people don't. You have to have 3 people in the same room to sign it. You need the notary and 2 witnesses to sign at the same time. People screw that up. And they will have these wills, and people will sign it, and they'll put different dates underneath their names. And then there'll be a notary to each one of them, but it's not a self-proving will. So you end up having to prove the will, which is something you don't want to do. And that's the danger. You can go to an attorney and pay $300 for a complete set, not just a will, but you get your estate planning. You get some recommendations. You have a living will, what to do with your remains, what to do, healthcare surrogate stuff, important decisions that have to be made by other people. And you don't get these, properly executed by paying Zoom $99 to do it. Find an attorney in your area that does probate. Go into the office. It's the loss leader. Pay $300. Get it done right, and don't screw your heirs. You go cheap on the front end. That $200 you save is going to cost you $20,000 later.
Well, and I agree with you completely, Michael. But I was saying, at a bare minimum, at least make some sort of communication, because this is several times in my life now where I'm having to deal with this scenario, and it's no fun. It's no fun. Better that than nothing is what I was saying. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yes, absolutely. I think it's $300 or $395. Most attorneys will have a nice little package for you,
right?
And
they'll do it right,
and take that heat off of your family and loved ones and people left behind. Jesus. Anyway. Hey, folks, Tom Gribben, thanks for listening in. Lou Fishman, there he is, buddy. Chris Cope, Greg Clamo. Hey, Kate, nice seeing you. Thanks for listening to the imho.love show. And we've been talking about the Federal Reserve for the last several shows. And the fact that, we have a private bank running our entire financial system. It sounds official. It sounds like it's our bank, but it's just a bank. And the fix is in so deep with these people, and they have almost complete control over.
Actually, what it is a consortium of bankers who own stock in a bank, and they control the world economies with the banks. There's only, I think, 8 or 9 countries left in the world that don't have a central bank or a central banking system. Russia's one of them. That's why Russia is the target for the Federal Reserve and for every Rothschild bank out there. It's really kind of sad, because these privately owned banks are owned by shareholders whose identities are unknown. That's the way it's been throughout the centuries and time since the founding of the Bank of England in 1694. And these are evil enterprises. They create money out of thin air, and then they loan it to governments so that governments can make war on each other, and they will finance both sides. They did it in World War One, they did it in World War II, they did it in the Napoleonic Wars. They do it all the time, and they've been doing this for thousands of years at this point. And we have to recognize the evil that exists there. And I have to ask you, look, if ET lands, you think they got here by way of a fractional reserve banking system? No, they don't enslave other members of their race, and that's exactly what the banks do with materialism and with debt slavery.
Yes, absolutely. This is a quote from the wife of Mayor Amschel, one of the Rothschild bankers. If you are not yet amazed by the power of the Rothschilds, please know that they are behind all wars since Napoleon, that they've discovered just how profitable it is to finance both sides of a war, and they've been doing it ever since.
Touché.
And that was the wife. Her name was Guttel Schnapper.
Maya
Amschel.
Maya, you do such a fine job loaning your money out. Can I have a Cadillac, please?
So, but what we're saying, folks, is there's really not a lot of escaping this at this point in the game. I mean, cats in the bag, bags in the river, and this is what we got to deal with. But what we would like to extend to you in the imho.love show, and IMHO stands for In My Humble Opinion, and this is my humble opinion. Keep your life simple. Stay out of debt, because here's what happens. You go out there and you bust your ass. You work hard every week. You bring your money home. And you've already, say you had and just for sake of whatever, say you're making $1,000 a week, okay? And you're going to take home somewhere in the 600s, depending on your, maybe 700 something, maybe 600 something. And then that will be what you actually live on. Okay.
Right. It all depends on how many little debt slaves you've created in your lifetime and how much credit you get for each one during the course of your lifetime, so they can grow up and be debt slaves just like mommy and dad.
Yes. You do get credit for your debt slaves. So depending on how many debt slaves you have, that's funny. And so you're going to wind up with, say, 700. Okay. Now everything you buy with that 700 that's already been taxed is going to be taxed again. If you go out to dinner, bang, it's taxed. The only thing that's not taxed in Florida, I believe, is food. And then for a couple of days a year, they let you have tax-free on clothing and stuff like that.
And school supplies, stuff that the state used to provide your kids, like
sure.
books,
So you have to get your little debt slave ready.
Right,
exactly. And they're going to give you a hiatus.
Make you a good little debt
slave from further taxing.
It's like, how many debt slaves do you have? I got 3.
But out of this 60% or so, or 70% of the money that you have left, now you're going to buy some gas for your car. Every gallon taxed. Okay.
Yeah, like 40% or better.
Yeah. And now you're going to, now you got to pay
real estate tax.
Real estate. If you own it. Absolutely. And if you're renting, you're paying it for the guy.
Yeah. But you never own it because the government can take it away from you at any time.
At any point. And charge you any rate of tax it deems appropriate.
Right.
And you signed that when you bought your house. And you don't know that, but that's true. That's why it's an exhaustive amount of paperwork. But if they ever need to whip it out, man, they can whip it out. So anyway, now you've been taxed on that. You're taxed on that. You go, oh, you know what? I really love our family and I want us all to have a dog. So you go, oh, they're giving away dogs down at the SPCA. We're going to get a free dog. Think of all the love that'll come in our house. Now you got to buy a dog license. You have to have that dog license to you. Oh, and no, wait a minute. Oh, part of the free adoption is you do have to pay for the spaying or neutering of your new dog. So you're going to pay that. And then next thing you know, just every little darn thing just chips away at your dough. And you get taxed on, we have to have licenses for everything. I sell hurricane windows and doors during the week. And we're the supplier and the installer, so we pay the tax up front. But we pay the tax on that, but consequently, it's passed on to the customer through pricing, and it just goes on, and you can't outrun it. So if you feel frustrated about this, it's pretty normal. You should. It means you're kind of like, hey, something's fishy here. And what it is everybody that goes by you is reaching in your pocket for something. And that's why, like my friend Dave, Dave had plenty of money to live, but it was almost like a hassle to him. He just didn't pay a lot of attention to it. And he wasn't even comfortable spending it. So, it really is quite a mind bender, because there's, all it is, it's currency for the trade for goods and services. There's nothing backing this money. There's no big pile of gold anywhere that says this is worth this. This is all these, exceedingly worded agreements that keep us looking at each other, that keep us running through the same maze.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the dollar keeps on shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. The government keeps on cooking the numbers. Inflation is a reality, and then actually what the Fed is doing, it's keeping interest rates artificially low at this point and interfering with other markets. And if you're a purist, a pure economist, the government shouldn't be interfering with any markets, and the markets should be allowed to, exercise what Adam Smith called the invisible hand. It guides everything that happens in the market, and it really does. When you start trying, like the whole deal with the $20 an hour minimum wage, which, in Clearwater, Florida, is like twice of what everybody would expect a maximum minimum wage to be.
Right.
But in San Francisco, it's not enough to live on. But you're trying to say, as a nation, we're going to impose this on people. It's wrong. Form follows function. It's not the other way around. And that's the problem with socialism, is that they create this form and want people to follow it, but it doesn't function well. It doesn't function at all. And eventually the system breaks down. And I think that's where we are in America right now. The system is breaking down, and we get to watch it fall around us.
And, this is a small thing, but this is something I've thought about several times. The fact that we have to tip our servers to bring us food. They work at a restaurant and they carry food and wait on people and bring them the items they want to eat. Even though I'm paying $15, $18, $22, $32 for a plate of this food, I still, and according to the cost of the food that I've eaten, now I have to give the server their little stipend for already doing their job. Why doesn't the restaurant pay these people enough to carry food? And I'm a good tipper too. Don't get me wrong. You really got to do something wrong for me not to tip you the 15 or 20%. So, and sometimes more. If the service was extraordinary, and if I have it, you'll get it.
Well, in France, it's when you go to a restaurant there, they're paid well. They're professionals. Being a server, being a waiter or a waitress is not something that people do as a part-time job. People devote their lives to it. Mm-hmm. And the way the laws are there is you really can't get fired once you're hired. It's really difficult to fire somebody. So you got to be really careful with the people that you choose to work for you. But once again, there's no necessity for tipping because they make enough, and that's reflected in the prices of the meal, which you don't get in the United States. It's completely different. So,
yeah. And
strange system.
And all the waiters and waitresses out there, I love you, and I'll continue to tip you. I just question the system that we all work under. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the imho.love show. I'm Lou Angelwolf. That's Michael Murburg. Our buddy Vaughn's back there running the third mic. And we have to listen to some news and listen to some ads. We'll be back in about 6 minutes. Thank you for listening to the imho.love show.
WTAN Clearwater,
FM 106.1,
WDCF Dade City,
FM 102.3,
WZHR Zephyr Hills,
FM 104.3.
Listen.
Reaction, Pyongyang fires projectiles. I'm Barbara Cusack. President Trump believes he prevailed following testimony by former special counsel Robert Mueller before two House committees.
In his reaction, the president took advantage of Bob Mueller's muddying the waters about whether there was enough evidence for obstruction of justice to charge Mr. Trump were he not president because of a Justice Department policy.
Because if you look at his correction, he took that totally out of play. He made his decision based on the facts, not based on some rule.
Mueller first indicated that because of the rule, a president could be indicted when out of office, but that was reason for him not indicting now. At the afternoon hearing, though, Mueller said his team did not make a determination on criminality for the president. Bob Costantini, the White House.
A federal judge in San Francisco blocked the Trump administration from enforcing a new rule that would bar almost all asylum applications at the U.S.-Mexico border. North Korea reportedly fired two unidentified projectiles into the sea. Pentagon correspondent Ryan Brown says this marks the first launches in more than 2 months.
The launch of these projectiles resembled a similar launch North Korea conducted in May, where North Korea fired two short-range ballistic missiles. Now we're being told that South Korean and U.S. military officials are continuing to assess the latest launch.
Congressional resolutions aimed at blocking the administration from selling billions of dollars in weapons and maintenance support to Saudi Arabia, vetoed by President Trump. Protesters keep putting pressure on Puerto Rico's Governor Ricardo Rossello to resign, as he said he is preparing to address the U.S. territory he represents. Bill Cosby spokesman says an insurance company settled another defamation suit filed by an accuser, this one by model Janice Dickinson. She had claimed that Cosby drugged and raped her in 1982. I'm Barbara Cusack.
Driving is freedom. The freedom to keep moving, to control your destiny, and to choose your path. And now that freedom fits in the palm of your hand. It's called Ford Pass, the only app that gives you roadside assistance, Ford Pass rewards. And now, when you buy or lease a new Ford, earn points you can use toward flexible complimentary maintenance that gives you, well, more freedom. Ford Pass, built to keep you moving, built Ford proud. Visit your participating Ford dealership to find out about getting flexible complimentary maintenance when you buy or lease a new Ford and sign up for rewards.
Roadside assistance is included for certain Ford owners and available to everyone for a per-service fee. Ford reserves the right to change program details without obligations. Visit your participating dealer or FordPassRewards.com for program rules and restrictions. Ford Pass, compatible with select smartphone platforms, is available via a download.
Listen to the latest pet trends with benefits on the Pet Buzz every Saturday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. And veterinarian Dr. Michael, health and wellness, money-saving tips, celebrity gossip, breaking news, and more. Their expert guests are in the know and in the now. To learn more about this unique program and its hosts, tune in to the show on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hey everybody, it's Bad Craig, host of Blazing Cigars, sponsored by Island Lifestyle and Tobacco Depot. Blazing Cigars is Tampa Bay's only true cigar lifestyle radio show. We feature the latest in cigar industry news, current trends, and cigar tips. Also, interviews with different cigar manufacturers from around the country. And of course, I'm always looking for my next ex-wife. So join us every Saturday from 11 a.m. to noon. That's Blazing Cigars right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network. Again, Blazing Cigars right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
If you would like to become a wholesale buyer of the premium quality longevity product that you hear about right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network, for personal service, you can pick up the phone right now and call Lola at 727-441-3311. Again, that's Lola at 727-441-3311. Or for even faster service, log on to tantalkhealth.com. That's tantalkhealth.com. Here's to your health and longevity.
Hello out there. Tune in every Saturday at noon on Tan Talk or Connecting Caregivers with me, Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers. Every Saturday at noon, we will find resources, education, and a shoulder for the caregivers. I know it's tough, but we can work it out together. Look forward to you tuning in on Saturdays at noon, where you'll have tons of information. Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregiver.
This is Mark Skogman, host of Spectrum 360 on the Tan Talk Radio Network. Spectrum 360 is a political from a progressive point of view. Spectrum 360 broadcasts for 1 hour weekly on Monday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern Time and anytime via podcast at 10talk1340.com. Remember, Spectrum 360, politics from a progressive point of view.
We take care of our own wherever this flag's flown.
Go yard is a metaphor used in baseball, meaning to hit a home run. Life struggles can make you feel like you just struck out. It's times like these that we need a little batting practice to pick ourselves back up and get back in the game. Whether you are dealing with marital issues, drug addiction, rebellious teens, anxiety, depression, or just generally having a bad day, call Mama Mac. If life has you down 0-2, before you strike out, learn to go yard. Go yard with Mama Mac on this radio station, Thursdays, 6 o'clock.
Don't turn it off now. You need this stuff. Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio Network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the imho.love show. I'm Lou Angelwolf here at Michael Murburg. We're at the Tan Talk Studios in sparkling downtown Clearwater, just less than a mile from the old Chick Smith Ford.
And for those of you on Facebook, thank you for listening during the interim. Hopefully we didn't create any libel or defamation.
No, we're hooked up, right?
We're good? Okay.
I think so. Yeah, we're hooked up, right? Okay. But anyway, well, folks, welcome to the show. We've been talking about money and the Federal Reserve. And, you know, part of the show that I love doing so much, and that's why we named it thusly, is In My Humble Opinion. And I'm always open to other opinions. I like hearing what people think. I like the other side of what may be, something that I believe is that I have a pretty good handle on. But then when I hear somebody else explain it and it makes more sense, I make a little room for that. I hold on to their valid points. And I, when you stop learning, man, that's a dangerous time, because everything's going to get rigid and you're not going to remember.
Yeah, your brain will fossilize, and then that's it. It's done. Game over.
Yeah, next thing you know, you're chasing kids out of your yard. But and get out of my
shooting at them with a BB gun,
yes,
stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I encountered this. There's a speaker. He's on TED Talks all the time. His name is Malcolm Gladwell, and I'll give you a brief synopsis of this. He has a very good 15-minute speech of the story of David and Goliath, and how we have always treated David as the underdog. He was the young shepherd boy, and and he was versed against the giant Goliath, who was 6'9" and full of armor. Well, he dissected the story very well, and he broke it down into these two things: that Goliath, even at 6'9", was a formidable foe, of course, in hand-to-hand combat. Okay, if you drew him a hand-to-hand combat thing, chances are you're going to have some issues, because this guy was absolutely huge. He weighed a whole bunch. He was just a big guy. But consequently, through research and scientific studies, they have found that maybe he was a little, how big guys can be a little lurchy sometimes, kind of.
Yeah, they think he had Marfan's disease.
Marfan's disease. Okay. And he, as he was walking down the hill to fight David, he said, "Come here." So he says, "Come to me so I can scatter you to the wind and the birds can feed on you," or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And now David, who was chosen, and everybody thinks he's the underdog. Oh, he's just a regular little guy, a little Dustin Hoffman coming out of the crowd. But come to find out, he was actually part of the infantry in Solomon's army. and he was a master with a sling. And this sling that he had, he had been protecting flocks of sheep from wolves and bears and various animals for decades. And these guys, with their sling and with the weight of the rocks that are native to that area, were very, very heavy, dense rocks. And these slingers, all right, they were a legitimate slingers. They were a legitimate part of the army then. And they would get this thing whipping around, and they would cut that thing loose. And they, I guess they've estimated the velocity at well over 100 miles an hour. Well, this guy, this giant Goliath guy, who's a big target, a lot bigger than hitting a wolf in the head, and he's just lumbering down this hill. And here's David. He whips that sling up and pops it over there, and with this big heavy rock, hits him right in between the eyes, which is your most vulnerable part, and just puts him out. Boom. But see, the way it shelled out for me was that Goliath was actually at a disadvantage because he was only good at hand-to-hand combat. He was not as advanced of a fighter with implements.
Yeah. And when it comes to David using the slingshot, apparently the Philistines said, "Hey, you cheated. You were supposed to come out here and fight hand to hand." And David, like a good Jewish boy, said, "Show me in the contract where it says that." And it doesn't say that. An ambiguity. You present me with the contract, and an ambiguity is considered against those who drafted it. So screw you. Everybody else, get out your slingshots. We're going to take these guys out.
That's funny. Actually, it wasn't a slingshot. That was a sling.
Yeah, it was
different.
Yeah, he used to use it as a jock strap, and then he would take it off. And
Don't you make me take my
drop his stones, and then pick them up again, and then hurl them.
Don't you make me drop my stones. Anyway, I work very often with a very funny comic named Michael Murillo, and Michael has a funny line. He says, "I went to a Jewish school, and they thought it would be wise for us to have an athletic program. So they had tryouts for the football team. Everybody tried out on Friday, and then on Monday, we had one quarterback and 19 agents." So, and that's that business. It's that Utica Cup. It's that Jewish thought. That's smart. That's that.
Well, they had the advantage of a couple IQ points, and they just kind of keep it in the family.
Yeah, and so what I was saying though about the David and Goliath thing. Now, there's a story that we've heard 1,000 times again that David was the underdog, but yet he triumphed over the big giant. When the reality of it is all he really did is he was more talented than the giant.
Well, there's a great parallel as to what's going on today. Israel's a very, very small country, and it's surrounded by very, very large countries. And, if you just look at the geography of it all, you go, oh, my God, poor little Israel. It's so small. Then you realize that they got 100 nuclear warheads, and nobody else does. And then it puts David and Goliath in perspective.
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, very good. They have 100 nuclear warheads?
Yeah, it's estimated between 100 and 200.
That's a lot.
And of course, they've never signed a nuclear non-proliferation treaty. So even though, Vladimir Putin pulled out of the medium range nuclear treaty today and got a lot of flack for it, nobody says anything about the 100 that are in the Middle East.
I don't spend a lot of time on world news. I just don't have time. I'm busy doing a lot of different things. And speaking of a lot of different things, I got lots of nice people watching the show now. I am playing out this weekend on Saturday night on the 27th. I am doing a live stand-up performance at the Palladium, We're in downstairs in the little the belly room down there. Fantastic venue, great sound system. And, the Palladium used to be the First Methodist Church of St. Petersburg, and it's a beautiful property. We went and saw the church play there a couple of months ago in the big room, but now I get to play downstairs in the smaller room, the little belly room down there. I call it the casserole room because that was a Methodist church for so many years, and that's where they had all the little gatherings. Can you imagine how many casseroles have been in that room?
Yeah, well, or the bake sale.
Yeah, the bake sale. Oh, sure. But just think of how many of those little crunchy onion things were on top of casseroles for all those years.
Yeah, needless to say, Lou doesn't cook.
I can. I've survived this long.
Where do I find them little onion things?
Those little onion things. I love that bit Norm Macdonald does about those little sandwiches that you can only find at parties. Hey, I tell you what, if you want to know what makes Lou Angelwolf laugh, Norm Macdonald, his newest special, Hitler and Other Trickery, exactly what it is, but Hitler's Dog will get you there. And his new special it's his most recent special. It's probably a couple years old now, but absolutely a scream. Love it. It's got a fantastic sense of humor. Not a clink in the whole thing. It's really, really good. So anyway, I'll be at the Palladium, 7:00 on Saturday night, playing with my dear friend Ward Smith, who books it and hosts it, and my friend Aniria, who is a very, very funny lady, and Tim the dairy farmer, who is really a dairy farmer and has the most ferocious handshake you've ever met on a human being.
Well, it's because he's been pulling tits for his whole life.
Well, he has. And teats, I think they are.
Yeah. Not in Jersey. That cow's got tits.
I'm telling you.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that's one of the 7 we can't say.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Even if it's about that kind of cow?
That's why I said teat.
I just have this New Jersey pronunciation of T-E-A-T. I am so sorry. I didn't know.
That's okay. It's okay. It's George Carlin's fault. But anyway, yeah, so if you want to come out and see me live, I'm in a rare mood, man. I had the the death of a friend, and I got a lot of stuff I'm sorting out in my own personal life, and mostly good stuff. I'm recovering. I'll be fine. And I'm in a mood, man. So if you want to come out and see the show, I'll be playing with Ward, Aniria, and Tim. Fun show, good sound, good lights,
and no teats.
So anyway, folks, you're listening to the imho.love show. We got the phone lines open, 727-441-3000 if you want to call in. We've been talking about your little dollar, and that little dollar that we in the first half of the show, say you made 1,000, now you get to keep 7, and now you get taxed on everything you buy with the 7 that's left over. And literally, we are ferociously feeding this back into the system. I don't, it's something you said last week, Mike. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Was it France that was almost bankrupt because of counterfeits?
Oh yeah, that's what England did. It actually was the United States. That's why the Continental became valueless, is because the English had like 250 guys and 40 locations cranking out counterfeit money that they flooded into the colonies to destroy the Continental, which was the currency at the time of the Revolution.
Okay,
so it became worth, after 4 years, it became worth 2.5% of its original face value because of the amount of counterfeiting that was done.
Wow.
Yeah, they did the same thing to France a couple of years later.
That's really, and I always wondered, now, I'll tell you what, though, these new bills, like these new hundreds, good luck counterfeiting one of those things. Holy smokes.
Well, it's funny. When I was a kid, I was going through some of my dad's stuff, and I found this gigantic wallet. And I go to him. My dad was born in 1907. And I said, God, Dad, look at this wallet. Why is it so large? He goes, you're too young to understand, but dollar bills were not the same size as they are today. Back when I was, your age, when I was 18, 19 years old, they were bigger.
Yeah.
They looked a lot different. So not only has your money shrunk, it's shrunk.
But the new ones, the new hundreds are pretty. They're fun to look at. There's all kinds of dimensions, and they're not made of paper. It's like old double knit slacks or something.
Polyester, yeah, they make them last a lot longer.
Yeah, and then they got all those pretty little rainbow things. And I remember back in the 80s when they started putting that strip in there. They started putting that little ident strip in there. So, and me and Tommy Rhodes and Kevin Rogers, every time we got paid, we'd fish that little strip out of the 20 and throw them away. I don't know what that did to them. Well, imagine, and what it was was for magnetic counting. So that's so I'm sure we goofed up some of the currency. Really sorry about that, but I'll deny it in a court of law. Oh, wait a minute, that was a long time ago. So can't get in trouble for something a long time ago. Can I?
The statute runs on almost everything but murder. So
yeah, okay. Well, it wasn't murder.
Yeah, good.
I don't kill nothing. I try, I really do. I try not to kill things, and like I get a bee in my car, I pull over and open up a window and shoo them out.
That's a test. But I draw the line of mosquitoes or anything that's taking my blood.
Yeah.
No, you die. Sorry. I'm sorry, Buddha. This one's going back. You can come back as a flea. I don't care.
The mosquitoes, man, and those no-see-ums. I don't know the reason for their invention, but I guess mosquitoes are bat food.
Yes,
because bats eat a lot of mosquitoes.
But what eats no-see-ums?
I don't know.
Maybe mosquitoes?
Yeah, wouldn't that be somewhere? Yeah. So either way,
yeah, the only way to make them welcome.
And the no-see-ums aren't all over the world. I've only experienced them here and in Texas.
Right. I only experienced them here, and I haven't been in Texas long enough to enjoy the no-see-ums.
Well, anyway, folks, like I said, you're listening to the imho.love show. I'm Lou Angelwolf. We've been talking about the Federal Reserve for the last few weeks, and if for those of you who don't know, we went off of our independent banking system, the Banking Act, which had been several bank failures before 1913, like the decade before. There were 7 bank runs on the bank.
Yeah, and there runs on the bank only because the Rothschilds were controlling the currency at the time and forced it, and they wanted to set the stage for the re-entry of a new national bank, the third national bank, which they decided to call the Fed, or the Federal Reserve, under the Federal Reserve Act, or the Federal Reserve Board.
Federal Reserve Bank sounds better than Third National Bank. Sounds like two other people beat you.
Yeah, or they failed. And they failed for good reason. So that was intentional. They wanted to name it something that was benign enough that sounded like it was official. Sounded like
Federal Reserve Bank. Yeah, it's a good name.
It has it's nothing to do with the Fed. They've got no money on reserve, and it's not really a bank. It's just a cartel owned by private people like J.P. Morgan and the Rothschild family.
It's and they design all the money, and they've had that mysterious.
And these were the same people that tried to overthrow FDR in 1934 in a bloodless coup they tried to engage the help of Smedley Butler, the most decorated Marine in history at the time. And then he's the one that turned him into Congress, and Congress had a long investigation, a 9-month investigation of it all, and basically proved that there was a coup d'etat that happened that was curtailed only because Butler brought it to light. And then they decided that these people were too powerful to punish or prosecute, and they apologized and they just let them go.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what happened in, I believe it was 1934.
Yeah.
I mean, when you take a look at what's going on in government today and nobody's getting prosecuted, I think there's great precedent that's been set over the last 70 or 80 years for it by people flagrantly breaking the law, and because they've got so much money, the government doesn't prosecute because it's all above the pay grades.
Wow. And and the way they desensitized the crime. Like I haven't even been able to follow anything about the Jeffrey Epstein story, but that's the kind of guy that really does need to be prosecuted, punished, and taken out of society. He should not be in the normal flow of human beings, regardless of his wealth.
Yeah, but he's a tool, and he's only a tool, and he's part of the the honey pit tool that traps the politicians. It's been used all along throughout history. Men being men and living the kinds of lives they live in secret and living a public life, and it's horrible for them to have somebody say, "Hey, we got the goods on you. Now we're going to expose the fact that you're a pedophile or that you're a homosexual or that this, that, or the other thing," because it's going to ruin your political career. You're going to go broke. And that's your life. And that's why these people sell out completely. And that's why you never see anybody prosecuted, is because they're all dirty.
Yeah, that is a rough group of folks there. But you see, the thing what irks me the most as just a civilian, what these pedophiles do is they destroy innocence. And that's the one thing, it curls my spine. It makes my ears hot. My voice starts cracking when I see innocence being hurt or damaged or destroyed. That's when I'm not cool, easygoing Lou anymore. That is the one thing that takes me into a very primal state of seek and destroy. But yet here you see all these politicians, and not all of them, a good amount of them, if they're playing the game, if they're playing some serious hardball, it's all a big boys club. And like Carlin says, and we ain't in it, but I don't want to be in it. I don't want that level of depravity in my life ever for any particular reason. There's nothing on this earth that I would want that would make me act that way. And then they all protect each other. This Podesta story is even more repulsive. And just a couple weeks ago, they arrested 1,400 people in Minnesota on child trafficking and all that other stuff. And then the story died. You don't hear about it anymore. You don't know what's going on. All you heard was about the arrest. It was in the paper for 2 days. Now the story's gone. So, that being said, that's the one thing that is my Achilles heel. That is the one thing that just takes me out of logical thought, is when I see innocence being damaged or destroyed.
Yeah, well, I used to prosecute these cases, and I used to think that pedophilia was limited to inbreds living in trailers in and around Moon Lake in Pasco County, Florida, which they were. But the reality is people like Podesta and the high rollers with Epstein made me realize is that this stuff is endemic to our political system, and it's a means of coercion, and it hits all levels of society, especially the rich and the famous. And it's really, really sick. And it almost makes me believe, I think Pizzagate is real at this point in time. And it almost makes me believe that there is a satanic element involved. It's more than likely in my belief system at this point. You and I both know that there are biker groups that make human sacrifices.
Sure.
That's part of where we've been and what we've done. But people don't really understand that in real life. They don't understand that human sacrifice is done in ritual ways in this country by people. They do it to innocents, and the fact that it can be done with missing children just leaves more credence to the fact that it's really probably going on out there, and we really need to just keep on quashing it.
It is, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we hate to end on a heavy note, but ladies and gentlemen, live a happy, clean life. Do the best you can. I'm Lou Angelwolf. That's Michael Murburg. This is the imho.love show. We're here every Wednesday night at 7:30, covering the news, covering stories, little known history, human initiated contact experience. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching, tuning in, all my friends out there. Hi, Linda and Stacy Guy and Kevin Briggs, our buddy. So hello, Mary Dumont and Beth and Steve. All right, y'all have a great week. We'll be back next Wednesday night at 7:30, and be easy on yourself.